either somebody forgot to shower or it's time for the Too Many Guys soccer show because something stinks. Must be us. That's right. I'm Mike, and it is the winter solstice, the longest night of the year.
Shortest day of the year.
Shortest day of the year, longest night. Although it feels like 2020 has just been one long night. Mare, that we're hoping that we wake up from. But given my luck, I'm going to get a big VAR replay on December 31st, and VAR is going to send us back to 2021 and call 2020 and call 2021 offsides. I am joined for our final show of the year, our year-end wrap-up. We're joined by my partner in crime, my soulmate in this podcasting journey, Armstead. How goes it this week? You're muted.
Yes, of course, the producer's muted. Yeah, it's you know, it hasn't gotten better, but I can say it's basically just been stable. We've continuing on the same path we've been on for quite a while, but at least the year is coming to an end, and hopefully we can all turn the page and keep this show moving.
So there was I believe it was a Matthew McConaughey movie, and they're like fighter pilots, and they get stranded in the desert, and they build this like sort of sail-based sand car out of the wreckage of whatever airplane they were flying in. And he's like, "Do you know where we're going?" "No, I have no idea, but we're making good time." I feel like that's 2020 for me. I have no idea what direction this is heading in, but we're making good time. And you know what? We've got 10 more days, and then hopefully it's over. But we'll be glad to see it. Like, I feel like the steaming pile of poo emoji is the only thing that will sum up 2020 for me. London Sean, or COVID Claus, as he chooses to go, his alter ego for tonight. How goes it, sir?
It goes well. It goes well, Mike. It shows that the world is going a bit mad, really, isn't it? We were obviously in a lockdown period just prior to this week, but only for the whole of the United Kingdom to discover that there was a whole new tier we didn't know about. So having worked to tiers 1, 2, and 3, we suddenly find that London is now in tier 4. So I'm hoping to Christ that next year, 2021, doesn't see us go into tier 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. Because, otherwise it looks as though we'll be locked in for a very long time. But it's given me lots of time to do all of the children's presents, and I should be ready by the 24th to go out on my sleigh and obviously deliver to all the children of the world.
Not only did you get a new tier, apparently you all also got a new virus?
Yes, I think us and Denmark apparently seem to have discovered now COVID-20, or maybe even COVID-21, we don't know. But yeah, just like Arsenal, we're finding new ways of self-destructing. Definitely.
Just when I thought I was out, you pull me back in.
Yeah.
And we want to welcome our good friend El Haji. Assalamu alaikum, brother. How goes it?
Wa alaikum salam.
You beat Tottenham, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know,
Yeah.
It was a good win, and it was a good win. You know, that put us back on top. So as long as we're on the top, I'm happy.
Like good sex, it came with a happy ending.
It's it's going to be a happy ending, I hope, because we are, I think, like 4 point clear.
4 points clear.
So,
4 or 5 points.
We should be, going into 2021, on top of the table. But I'm a very big Liverpool fan, but I have a soft spot for Chelsea. I was a Chelsea fan. I grew up, being a good Chelsea fan. I like it, that they moving up the table too. And I was happy to see my boy Mendy, just getting another clean sheet. So it was good. So looking really forward to having 2020 behind us with all the major stuff that happened. The biggest one was like, the dagger was, the loss of like Babu Joe,
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of the dagger, for me for 2020. But hopefully 2021 is going to bring joy for us. And I'm looking forward to, my boy Imane, maybe winning the, the golden, the best player, the
Golden
golden
ball.
Yeah.
shoes, or like a Ballon d'Or or something,
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
I certainly got to believe that he'll be higher in the running for African Player of the Year again.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
It's kind of funny that he finishes fourth in FIFA World
He
Player of the Year,
finishes fourth, and believe it
but
or
didn't
not,
make the team. Didn't make the team. Didn't make
yes,
the FIFA
yes,
11.
exactly. He didn't make the team, but he
Yeah.
finished fourth. And I think he could have been on the podium.
Mhm.
Lewandowski, my boy, deserved it. I think he was the best player. Because even in Senegal, people are giving Kalidou Koulibaly and some journalists like really crappy stuff, saying, "Hey man, you should have voted for him," because he voted for Lewandowski and put Mane second, and he's getting some rap about that. But I'm with him. Definitely Lewandowski was the better player this year. Hopefully, if he finishes strong and early next year, he'll get the Ballon d'Or. Who knows?
It would be nice to see another. I believe George Weah is the only African
George
player.
Weah is the only
Mhm.
one, out there
Yeah.
that ever won it. So hopefully, it's going to be hard with Lewandowski doing what he's doing right now. I think he has a better, a bigger impact in Liverpool than Messi in Barcelona or
Mhm.
Ronaldo in Juventus. So.
And it's
And I also don't know like that dynamic between him and Salah. I'm kind of like, what's going on out there. Hearing like, Salah's not, eyeing some, Spanish club out.
Mhm.
Who knows?
I heard that earlier today that there's a little bit of dissension, discord, and desire to maybe go on to greener pastures within the Liverpool team. I think that though that's the case with just about any team. Sir Alex Ferguson once said you basically have about a 4 to 5 year run with any team, and Liverpool is coming into this will be about the fourth or fifth year that these guys have all been together. So it doesn't surprise me that you would start to hear about, fraying around the edges. Now, to what extent that's actually true, who knows? We're sitting over here, in Sean's case over there, but we're on the outside looking in. So.
Mhm.
One of our things that we like to do when we try and get all of our correspondents on it for the last show of the year, just kind of reflect on what happened, how the year went. This has been a strange one. 2020. Sean had. I was looking through various things. Sean had the great meme from earlier this year. People getting paid not to work. A Tory Prime Minister in the hospital, and Liverpool being awarded the Premier League title. Somewhere there's a Scouser with a lamp and no more wishes. But El Hadji, what was kind of, when you look back from the soccer standpoint, what was one of your favorite moments? What do you think went well this year? What was one of your favorite moments of the year?
I mean, yes, Liverpool winning the, of course, winning the title after like so many, 30 years. It was bittersweet though, because I would have loved them finishing with a stadium full of people, but I was glad to see my boy Mane and Salah at least earn the trophy, and then I think it was a highlight for me.
We've talked about COVID and what went wrong this year. What was something that you can think of that didn't go exactly how you hoped it would?
I mean, just the atmosphere, when they came back, it's like playing, it was like very strange for me to have, watching a game without all those people out there, screaming and reacting to, plays and stuff. It took a while for me to actually, get into it again. It was pretty strange, but I actually enjoy it now. Now it's just like, thanks what, I'm still here for the game of soccer, and I still enjoy it. Just like, there was a lot of people in there, because once, I find myself, I wasn't expecting enjoying it the way I used to, but I find myself really getting into the games and really just like forgetting like there's no people out there, watching it. It made me realize I truly enjoy, watching soccer. Because I see the plays, I'm excited about, the plays. I'm excited about the interaction, the dynamic, seeing the coach react, the player react. That's all it is, So I think I can watch it by myself now without nobody around, and enjoy it. So it kind of surprised me that I could enjoy it that much.
We're going to get you out for tonight on this one. Give me a New Year's resolution for one or more of your teams.
Is that for me?
Yeah, it is.
I like I say, I still have a really soft spot for Chelsea. I want them to be in the podium this time, and have Mendy just prove himself to be one of the greatest goalkeepers out there. The ideal world will be like Liverpool winning it, Chelsea coming second, and then not forget, I'm a huge fan of Zinedine Zidane. I want him to the league, La Liga. I want them to win it, even though like Atletico is like kicking butts right now. I want them to win it, and hopefully Zidane will go out with a great win.
All right, one last question before I let you go. Give us a sneak peek. What do you think about Senegal and their chances in the African Cup of Nations? We'll talk more about that when we come back at the beginning of the year.
See, I want to say nothing to jinx us. But I mean, it's overdue, man. It's overdue. Every year, every African Cup, we're like, okay, on paper, we are the best team out there right now. We are the #1 African team right now. If soccer is like strange, if soccer wasn't strange, I would put my bottom dollar saying, okay, we don't. But
you don't have to worry about that because Sean will bet on your behalf.
Yes, I want somebody. Yes, yeah, and that's how it's gonna work. I want one of you three to bet on us. If I bet, if I bet, it's like, I see. I'm a pilot, right? If you guys know, right? Pilots are very superstitious, So we don't never we don't ever bet on ourselves, you know. So I need you guys, out of your goodness of your heart, to please bet for us. And I think we're gonna. We are very superstitious, I'm superstitious by nature, so hopefully this is gonna be our year, yo.
All right. We're going to get you on in early January to do a little bit more of a preview and a full discussion on the African Cup of Nations as it gets ready to start. But it was good talking to you, and you have a great evening and a great holiday period, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Happy holiday. And Santa, I'll make sure, we could put a lot of milk and cookies, so
Where's the
please
whiskey?
stop by.
Yeah,
Where's the whiskey?
That's at my house. That's at my house.
All right, buddy.
Take care.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right.
Bye.
All right. I think that I got to say, as I interject my own thoughts into this, as we bring on our next guest, Sean, what was something that you thought went outside of COVID? What was one of the things that you thought went really well this year?
Oh, no question in my mind. 1st of August 2020, that was the highlight of the year. As Arsenal put Chelsea to the sword, and we finally brought home our 13th FA Cup. So that's the highlight, definitely, without a doubt, Mikey. And that was sort of followed a little bit by watching Bayern Munich win the Champions League this year as well. I thought they had a fantastic tournament. If you remember, it was just at a time where we were getting football back after 3 months of not having had any football at all. And I think they were one of the most deserved winning Champions League winners of recent years. And I bet on them as well. So obviously that helps.
I thought how they played leading up to the final was just amazing. I can't exactly say that the final was a compelling game.
No.
But
not a very good spectacle, but after their demolition of Barcelona, I'm glad that they went on to get what they deserved.
And final was kind of typical of a final too. You go to a final to win. You don't go to a final please win the game. Yeah.
We quote Jose Mourinho all the time.
Oh, quote him on that one.
Yeah, finals are meant to be won, not played. We want to welcome in our correspondent who covers that fantasy land north of the border, the magical, mystical, wonderful world of Scotland. Cam, how you doing tonight?
Good. Thanks for having me again.
Any, I know that the solstice is a big deal in Scotland. Any solstice plans for you?
I'm laying low. It's a dangerous time to be out as a Scotsman.
Weird things happen, leprechauns and unicorns and stuff like that. So it's been an interesting one. Celtic wrapped up the quadruple treble this week. You had said last time that we had you on that this could be a turning point in your season. What did you see? That was a interesting game, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, it was, I said if we won it, it was going to be a big turning point. And I think the only way that I would question that would be if we went to extra time, didn't win, and then it came down to penalties. And what happened? Came down to penalties. Closed the game out at 3-3 and then to penalties. And, although we did win, and I do think it's a turning point, it still shows that the team isn't there, unfortunately. So I'm still a little nervous for the coming few weeks. The next game's Ross County. So we'll see how that goes. But, hey, quadruple. Let's go.
So it's been different. I know the season probably didn't exactly end the way that you would have liked to, sort of an anticlimactic awarding of the Scottish Premier League title. But tell me something that you felt went right for Celtic this year.
To be honest, I think Celtic's had 9 seasons of continued success, almost unopposed except for, some of the last couple of seasons. And though I hate to see them falter, I think the fact that we're experiencing a few losses again is bringing us back down to earth a little bit. I mean, we saw how some of the fans came out and reacted to Lennon, saying get him out, threatening banners, all that. It's kind of disgusting to see, actually, but at the same time, it shows that we are still human, and that we shouldn't expect to win every season going forward. Rangers are back again. They're a viable contender, and I think that's going to actually make the coming seasons more interesting, honestly. So bittersweet takeaway, but I'm looking forward to the next couple of seasons.
What do you think was your biggest disappointment throughout 2020?
The old firm, no questions asked. It's just it really, I think, put a stamp on the fact that this season we're just struggling. We're following a similar pattern of playing the same people that we've played in the last few seasons. We've got all this new blood sitting on the bench that we need to use. So, similar to what I was just saying, it's a wake-up call, I think.
And so as you look back over 2020, what is something that you're going to remember about Celtic, about Scotland, about one or the other or both?
I think with Scotland beating Serbia, I don't think I'm ever going to forget that. Seeing Ryan Christie get that speech at the end, I think that's going to stick with me forever, without a doubt. In terms of Celtic, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the most positive, memorable part of the year has been so far. It's unfortunate the next Old Firm match is the beginning of 2021 because right before the end of 2020, I could hopefully say that was the best part of their season.
So give me a New Year's resolution for Celtic and for Scotland.
Play Lee Bloody Griffiths more and get a functioning backline. Get a backline that can stand up. Those are the cheapest things, by far. Easy.
Do you anticipate any, we spoke a little bit about it last week or 2 weeks ago when you were last on. Do you foresee any amount of movement from the Celtic office? Have you gotten a sense of any additional transfer windows or transfer moves as we get closer to the window opening?
Yeah, so there's been talk of, Barkas was picked up last minute and unfortunately just hasn't really cut the mark. So I think a lot of people are hoping that there's going to be some movement in terms of goalkeeping options. Now, we did play Hazard in our past few games, and he does look like a solid prospect, but again, he's very young. And he did let a few slip in the last game against Hearts. He had a couple errors that did cause goals. So, I think we're hoping for a goalkeeper. And I think we're also, again, hoping for backline. The past few seasons, Celtic has almost just scraped by with that backline they haven't. Don't get me wrong, we've got some strong players. Julian, he's a fantastic player when he's fit, when he's on the mark. Unfortunately, Duffy has not really been cutting it so far. And I think that also suggests that maybe less loans and we buy more players and we work them up over multiple years rather than just having these short-term loans continuously. That, it's a strong player. He shows he's strong, then their price goes up next window and we can't afford him. So purchasing a strong backline and a solid goalkeeper.
All right, man. Well, we want to thank you. We wish you the best. Enjoy your holiday. Good luck in the Old Firm, and we'll get you on at the beginning of the year to talk a little bit more Celtic and Scotland.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that Athletic Nacional shirt too. I've one.
Somebody caught on to it. Yeah, I'm trying to dig through and come up with the different jerseys. Sometimes it gets to be a challenge, but yeah, go Athletic Nacional. The team.
Green and white, I like it.
Yeah. Well, you didn't say it. I do have the Celtic jersey hanging behind me.
The Roy Keane. I noticed that.
Yes. Yeah. Just in your honor, I figured I'd break that out today.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Take care. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Happy holidays.
So, instead, to you, my dear friend, what is something that's going to stick out to you about this year?
I'm going to do my best to refrain from talking about Arsenal for as long as possible. So I will say that what has stuck out to me this year was really the emergence of Erling Haaland. That really was something that jumped out at me, because while I had heard the name considerably before the lockdown, he was still a 19, 20-year-old kid who was doing things in Austria and had this great Champions League run, was scoring a lot of goals. But after the restart and how we were getting Bundesliga games, and that was pretty much all we had, and we spoke very positively about them coming back and the way they handled it. But to see, I really felt like he personally brought me back into the game, because there was a player that I was excited to see, especially one so young. And to see him out there and play the way he is, but also the way he carries himself. I love the way he is in interviews. He's really funny. He doesn't take a lot of the crap that some of these people who are interviewing for these papers, they ask the worst questions on purpose just to try to get a rise out of the player so they can get some kind of sound bite or something like that. And I find it quite disrespectful. And the way he handles himself at such a young age is really, really, it puts a smile on my face. And he's really, I know we've said it on this show a couple of times, but I'm like, this guy is a World Player of the Year type player in the coming years. And for a guy that size, though, to move the way he does, he's not just tall, he's kind of thick too. He's got some beef on him. And to see the way he's able to move away from defenders, but also the way he's able to move without the ball, the way he's able to, the way he makes his runs from an angle, the way he slides into position, but also the way he can stop and shift laterally to get in a better position to finish is really remarkable. And, outside of Zlatan, you don't see anybody with that size who can move like that. So I'm very excited to see what his career does. And I really don't have it, like, I don't want him to go to a specific team. He's got to go play here. No, I just keep playing and make sure I can watch, because I'm finding him very entertaining. I'm looking forward to watching him play for the next, hopefully 15 years.
It reminds me of maybe on the other side of the ball, one of the players that really jumped out at me was Alphonso Davies.
Mm-hmm.
And coming over from Canada, where you played primarily winger, and just his emergence as a left back and the reaction, again, that Dortmund Bayern game came early in lockout, where it was one of the early games that we got right after the restart. There wasn't a lot going on that particular day, so there was a lot of attention being played, and the reaction across the sports world in general to Alphonso Davies. I mean, I feel like that was really this was his big season.
Mm-hmm.
But that game, to me, that Der Klassiker, when he raced down after getting beat to take the ball off of Haaland's foot, that was kind of like his announcement of, I'm here. And we've talked a lot about it with British Will, the fact that defenders don't always get the credit that they deserve. How critical a player like Virgil van Dijk has been for Liverpool. Now that we don't have, and by we I mean Manchester United don't have the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand in there, how much you miss them, how much you miss those defenders when you don't have them. And a player like Davies, especially as a fullback, may not necessarily get the attention moving forward, but certainly he's a young player who I'm looking forward to and seeing, and it helps that he's North American.
Yeah,
I love
representing this part of the world. I like that too. Yeah, big time.
And I love the fact that he's Canadian. We've been saying for years that we thought, Canada could potentially come up and give some competition to the established patterns in CONCACAF, and it'll be nice to
kind
see
of
them
be that third team outside of the United States and Mexico. Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, and right on time too, because in 2026, he'll be he should be, you would estimate,
Yeah.
entering his prime in
Yeah, 25, Yeah,
25,
absolutely.
26 when
Absolutely.
that World Cup comes. They're going to
Yeah.
get games. It'll be nice to see, and I wish him all the health. Put him in bubble wrap when he travels so
Absolutely. Yeah.
that we can see
Yeah.
him play.
Hopefully you can ask me this question again a couple of more times because I got a couple of more points I wouldn't mind bringing up before we get out of here today.
Oh,
So.
yeah. No doubt. We have plenty of time as we go through. We want to welcome in one of our newest guests, Leo, the Madridista. How's it going, my friend?
Doing well. Thank you guys for having me again.
Thanks for coming back, man.
So, where I get so lost when it comes to covering Real now. Like, I try and prepare when I know you're going to be on to talk about him, but I'm like, you know what? I just can't follow this roller coaster anymore. Where in the world are we with this
I
team?
could say if this isn't the strangest La Liga season we've had in recent memory, I don't know what. So I mean, I kind of feel bad for you, Leo, that we bring you on the show to talk about this when you're kind of like,
What a year it has been for sure. Since last we talked, Real Madrid ended Atleti's unbeaten streak. It was a nice game. It looks like the good old days. And the table has changed pretty drastically as well. Every time I come back on, there's a new table. There's a new top 3 or 4. Hard to follow, to be honest.
We may not figure out what these tables look like until June. Yes, I understand.
It's crazy though, but you look at the La Liga table as well. Outside of Atleti and Real Madrid, who've gotten they've won 4 of the last 5. You're looking at the third place team; they've only gotten 3 points out of the last possible 15. Villarreal's got 1 win. Barcelona's kind of creeping back, but they're still getting draws. So like nobody looks like they're really trying to do anything here, and you have a gap of only 14 points between first and 15th place. That's pretty bonkers.
It is absolutely crazy.
And it's only 15 points all the way down to the relegation line.
All the way down, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But they're sitting at you're sitting joint top of the table, ostensibly separated by goal differential. But I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, is there still a thing in La Liga where a tiebreaker is based on head-to-head at the end of the season, not goal differential?
Yeah, I think you're correct. And Atleti's played less games than Real.
Yeah, they've got 2 fewer games, so there's still a chance that Atleti can. But just when we thought that we were writing their obit, once again, Zinedine Zidane figures out a way to kind of, sort of, maybe, possibly pull it back together.
Yeah, they looked pretty okay. Between the Champions League and what I saw the last couple of games, they were scoring goals. You mentioned on our last call what they needed to do to beat Atletico was to not let them score a goal and then punt the ball away and do what they're really good at. And they came out from the first minute all on the attack. And that's how they played the game, and it worked out. I enjoyed it. It was a good game. It was one of the more exciting and more fast-paced La Liga games in comparison to what you all watch in England. And I hope to see that moving forward. I hope to see that against Atalanta in their Champions League draw, and I hope to see that against some of their bigger opponents moving on. Hopefully, they will have clicked by now.
What do you think of that Atalanta draw in the Champions League? They are a bit of a bogey team for everybody, and you can see them kind of they're a team that likes to gum up the works. And in the Champions League thus far this year, those have been the teams that Real has sort of struggled with a little bit.
Agreed. I think that they will not roll over them by any means. I think it'll be a great match, and if they click the way that they have in the last couple of weeks, I think they'll put them away. But you have always got to be careful of those teams in the Champions League, especially if they have nothing else to play for.
So give us something as we do at the end. We kind of look at the end of the year with our last show. We like to reflect on the year gone by. I know it's been a rough one with COVID and all that stuff. But think about it. Tell me, can you give me something that went right for Madrid this year?
I'm not sure. I think that it took them until the end of 2020 to start clicking and start playing the game that ultimately Zidane wants to play. Their passes all the way across the field, their run and gun scoring goals. I mean, it's a beautiful style that they have that they really hadn't gotten back to since Ronaldo left. So it took them until the end of this year for me to look at them and say, that's a good team. They're playing the way that they should be. And I hope that that carries into 2021.
So give me what was like your most memorable moment of the last year?
Most memorable moment was when they lost in the Champions League. It's a
Ooh.
bad memory.
I didn't necessarily say it had to be a good memory. It could be a bad one.
Yeah, that was the most significant turning point was watching the team who always seemed to know how to pull it together in the Champions League kind of flop last spring. But yeah, that would be it. Looking ahead instead of looking in the past this year.
That's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea at all.
For a lot of us.
Yeah.
So we'll let you go with this one, and we want to thank you again for joining us, and we'll have you back on. But can you give me a New Year's resolution for Real Madrid this year, for 2021?
New Year's resolution will be to get out early, the way that I saw in the last game. They got to be the first team to score because they're good at controlling the ball. After that, I have not seen them have a good come from behind victory the way I've seen some of the other teams do. So that's what I'm hoping for.
All right, my man. Well, thanks a lot, and we'll have you back next year. Enjoy your holidays.
You too.
Good health, and
Thanks, Leo.
Thank you.
Hala Madrid.
See you guys.
So, Sean, you got any other memories from 2021 that we should talk about while we wait for our next guest to come on?
Any memories? Yeah, I think there's been so one thing that's been quite interesting to watch throughout the whole year is the rise of Sheffield United and the decline of Sheffield United.
Mm-hmm.
So here was a team that during the course of 2020 was riding very high at one point, I seem to remember, if we look at last season's results. And yeah, I feel very sorry for Sheffield United fans since the start of the new season. Statistically, I think they're doomed, as they say in Scotland. They are doomed. No one has ever managed to escape with 2 points after 13 games in the whole of the history of the Premier League, or indeed the whole of the history of the Football League.
Well,
So, sorry?
I was going to say, like, about this time last year, everybody was raving about Chris Wilder, and he was the hot coach and
Oh, yeah. Next England manager.
Next England manager. He was the name on everybody. And now you look and you wonder, is he going to be able to survive much longer if the results hold? Because I understand that he got him up there, that he was part of the architect of their success for so much of last year. But, you know, I can't imagine. Loyalty and goodwill only go but so far in the Premier League. And, you know, are the owners of the Blades going to have to make some really tough decisions if they hope to maintain or stay in the Premier League? Because it's nobody wants to go down to the championship right now.
No, or in any other year, to be fair. But
Yeah,
then on the
really
other
not
side
this
of that
year.
fence, we saw a team really struggling last year that really got itself out of trouble in only the last few games of last season in Aston Villa, who've now started this season totally on fire. So yes, Mr. Wilder and I'm just trying to remember the Villa's manager is
Dean Smith.
no,
Dean Smith.
no. Who?
Yeah,
Oh, I think you said Ian Dean Smith.
Dean Smith.
That's right. Yeah. So the two of them seem to have been going in the opposite escalators, haven't they? So
and we saw that with Villa making the Great Escape last year, and Wolfsburg as well in Germany making the Great Escape, and both of them have carried on to a certain extent this year. They found that form at the end. COVID came, that break, they got some form, made the Great Escape, and then have started off well this year. But we know that the Premier League is, you don't win it prior to Christmas, and you sure can put yourself in a hole, but it's really what happens starting with the festive season that can really determine because where you go from there. So we're going to bring in our next guest, another new correspondent, Mr. Andy. How goes it, my friend? Andy the Hammer.
Hey, how are you guys?
We're doing good. We're doing good. How are you this evening?
Good enough. It's a long week ahead till Christmas.
Long week ahead. Bit of a tough one these last couple of weeks. Some up and down results for West Ham. I don't know. Is it some sort of David Moyes gets the contract and now you have a little bit of regression to the mean? Is it just the natural ebb and flow of a Premier League season? Were they punching a little bit above their weight class and now the air's just come out a little bit?
Yeah, I think the latter one is spot on. We're punching a little bit above our weight to start the season. I don't think anyone, especially not me, the way I think the first 7 matches of the season were against teams that finished in the top half the year before. So I figured based on what West Ham did in 2019-20 that conceivably West Ham could be in serious trouble after those first 7 matches. It turned out not to be that way, which is great, but you're seeing it now. Maybe it's catching up to us a little bit. We don't have the squad depth too that I think that's an issue. Part of the reason that made the first stint of the season so good was because we had that system. I guess it was like a 5-4-1, I guess we could call it, or maybe a 5-3-3, whatever it is, a 5-3-2, I guess. With Masuaku as a left wing back and Antonio up top, and that worked really well. And then suddenly both of those guys are out injured for the last, I guess, month or so. I forget exactly the timeline. That's been an issue. I think the team has looked completely different since those two have been out of the side. Sebastian Haller just doesn't. He had that great bicycle kick against Crystal Palace, but overall, I don't think he, brings as much as Antonio in terms of hustle and just chances created and things like that. And Masuaku down that left wing was it was a danger with the balls that he crossed in, and I think he brought out the best in Aaron Cresswell when Cresswell got to play as a left center back. Now Cresswell is back at left back. He was at fault for Batshuayi's second goal against Chelsea today. He kept him onside, just kind of was ball watching, wasn't marking his man. So I think those are some issues, but you hope Antonio comes back soon. Masuaku's not coming back anytime soon, I don't think, but I think things will work out. I think being in is not a terrible position.
Yeah, Antonio signed an extension too. He's going to be there, so it looks like he's going to try to finish out his career there. So that's good.
Yeah, to 2023. That was good news. I think it was good.
You guys have you guys have an interesting list of fixtures. You would think Brighton coming up on Sunday, a trip to Southampton, who, wow, you would figure kind of in that same sort of boat. They press a little bit more, and they're always a tough team to beat, especially at St. Mary's. Everton before the FA Cup against Stockport, and then you come back after the FA Cup break with Burnley and West Brom. So the early part of the year looks like it will give them an opportunity, hopefully, to pick up some points. Is this a team that is capable of challenging for a European place? Remember, there's an extra one now because of this European Conference League that I'm pretty sure nobody's actually going to want to play in. But hey, y'all can have it if you want. Are they going to be challenging for Europe? Is mid-table, is 10th where, about where they're going to be? Are they just happy to have banked the points at the beginning of the season, which means that any dip in form can be survivable?
Yeah, I think top 8 is Europe this year.
Pretty sure I feel like that.
I still think mid-table is where they will end up and probably should end up. I think it kind of comes down to the depth of the squad. You look at and you're like, well, beyond Masuaku and Cresswell, there's no other left backs. We can move over Ben Johnson, he's this youngster kind of coming through the system. He's really more of a right back, but he's 2-footed enough that he can play over there. But to be in that situation where we don't have that much depth, especially at striker. I mean, if Antonio's out for longer, I mean, you're going to rely on Allaire all year, and we don't have another option. So I guess you could play Yarmolenko up top, but he's really a winger. So you look at that, and I think there's still issues. But mid-table is probably where they will end up, and probably where they should end up. And you mentioned a couple of the matches. I mean, I think Everton away from home is going to be very difficult. Southampton, very difficult. You'd think home against Burnley and Brighton are probably wins or should be wins. In West Brom, kind of too, in that should be wins. So they'll pick up points, and I think they'll be very safe. I don't think West Ham this year is going to be, battling relegation like last season. But
no, leave that to Arsenal.
yes. But I wouldn't say Europe is that likely, to be honest.
What are the chances that what's going to go on with Declan Rice? There's been a lot of rumors about him possibly moving in January or next summer. It seems like we've kind of gotten to the tail end of his time at West Ham. Is he likely to stay at least for this year or for the remainder of this season before moving? Is it if they get a good offer for him, they kind of have to take it and sell him in January?
I'm not entirely certain of any of this, but this is my best guess, is that he's not going anywhere in January. I would be surprised if he did, to be honest. But he's not going to finish his career at West Ham. I can very surely say in the next 2 years, he's going to be either playing for Chelsea or Man United or, one of those types of teams. I think probably after the season or maybe the season after that, a good offer comes in, you have to take it if you're West Ham. He's better than anybody on West Ham. And he's far, I don't know if you watched the Chelsea match today, but in a game that West Ham was largely second best in many of the categories without much of a product in the final third. Rice was very good just with his passing. He had this one ball. He was in the center of the park and lobbed it this like kind of forward diagonal right over the left back's head down onto Souček on a run, and it was just like that ball is worth like 80 million pounds. So I don't think he's going to go in January, just because I don't think West Ham can replace him, to be honest. But I think in maybe the summer or the year after that, he's definitely gone.
We'll take Manchester United will take Declan Rice off your hands, and you can have Phil Jones.
No. I think
I've been trying to give
Fine.
away Phil Jones to
Oh.
anybody who would take him. Nobody
Mike's
wants.
been dumping Phil Jones on this show for 2 years, man.
I tried to give him. I tried to give him the grease when Captain Uzo got arrested, and they didn't want him. I've tried to give him the Celtic. They didn't want him. I've tried to give him to the MLS. They didn't want him. It's like, nah. It's like that. It's just one of those things on Twitter where everybody's just passing them off. Nah, you guys can keep him. One of the things that we like to do when we wrap up the year, give us what is something that stands out to. What are some of your memorable moments from 2020, as far as West Ham or football in general is concerned?
I think I forget the exact date this was, but it was after the summer restart, after the COVID lockdown and stuff. West Ham coming back to beat, I think they beat Chelsea. It was Yarmolenko's like 94th minute goal or whatever against Chelsea. I mean, that just was a phenomenal moment. It was pretty great, and it was kind of a big part of our like revitalization after the COVID lockdown. That David Moyes comes in and kind of saves the day, prevents relegation. And then you look at the Tottenham Manuel Lanzini as of the bottom. That is hard. I don't think
Top of my list.
Yeah, I don't think anything is better than that, in terms of 2020 memories. But there are some little things too. Like you loved. I think Declan scored a outside the box screamer against somebody in the restart after the break. There were moments like here and there that kind of stand out in 2020. But it was kind of a year of two halves almost, where the beginning of 2020 I thought West Ham could go down. And then the second half of it, with Moyes in charge, they kind of figure it out and stabilize and finish 16th, I think it was. And then this year, hopefully, we kind of end on a strong note to push on to 2021.
Give me a New Year's resolution for West Ham.
I'd like to, as much as this pains me, I'd like to not start Mark Noble. Or have to start Mark Noble. He's my favorite player of all time, and there's nothing against him. But to start him as like the number 10 today against Chelsea, it was kind of painful to watch him amble around the pitch, looking like he's going at half speed compared to everyone else. I love him. Love when he comes on the 85th minute and can just be that disruptive presence to hold on to a lead. But hopefully going forward, we don't need to rely on Mark Noble as a starter. That'd be nice.
All right, my man. Well, we want to thank you for joining us. You and your family have a happy holiday and a safe New Year's, and we'll get you back on at the after the New Year. Talk a little bit more West Ham and life in the mid-table.
Yeah, absolutely. The place we want to be. Thanks, guys. You too. See you.
Can I just say, Mike, Sebastian Haller is shit. He really is.
I don't think that.
Having watched him closely, he is shit. Sorry.
He is pretty bad. He is pretty bad. And just the number of I watched him today during the Chelsea match. And then the only other time I've really seen him play was when he was playing against United. And the number of gilt edge chances that he manages to miss, it's just, it is baffling. It's baffling.
Yeah,
So.
he's got some Danny Welbeck in him. I think, actually, no. He's overtaken Danny Welbeck in that situation of someone. Because, like, what's frustrating is he looks like he should be able to play. I mean, I hate to say that, but to see his movement, to see his physique, to see the way he's in positions, and to see where he looks like a prototypical center forward, and he's just not, and that's the frustrating part. I can imagine being a West Ham fan looking at this player going, this is like when we got Andy Carroll. This is a guy who's supposed to come in and
Well,
be able to
he
set
put, he
something up,
put
and
in
he
a
just can't.
fantastic goal against Sheffield United. He got
Oh,
the
yeah, it's
overhead
wonderful.
kick against Crystal Palace. And for the other 1,020 minutes that he's played, he has been shocking.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He's
And that's
Yeah.
that's Andy being like that's his critical of him. Like trust me, he agrees.
I don't think that it's not even that he's not the question. He's not the answer. He's not even the question.
Yeah.
Not even the question. So we're going to turn to the other half of today's match and talk to Chelsea Mike, who has this whole Mr. Rogers thing going on that I really don't understand right now. With his cardigan in his library. Oh, in his Villanova cardigan, yes. In his library, looking like very Mr. Rogers, Professor Shustak-esque. Mike, how goes it? And you need to unmute yourself.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
That's better. No, it's going well. Heading into the holidays, baked some cookies yesterday. Made some good ones. Watched some football all weekend. It was great. Life is good. Can't complain.
It was a good football watching weekend. So, we heard from Andy, the Hammer, right before you talk about how, West Ham may be regressing a little bit to the mean. They're missing Antonio. The squad is thin. That they just really didn't have enough to match with Chelsea today. I want to get your take on the match and where Chelsea is at this point in the season.
Well, I would say that's true. West Ham definitely had some chances. This scoreline 3-0 was not really indicative of how that game went down. There were some tense moments, certainly towards the end of the first half, where it looked like, and in the beginning of the second half, where it looked like this was going to be the kind of game where we're going to gut out a 1-1 draw, and it's going to be a terrible beginning to our festive season. But that's not the way it went out. Frankly, though, in the beginning of the game, Chelsea had chance after chance after chance, and that sort of played into my thoughts was, if we don't convert here at the beginning of the game when we have all the momentum and put in a second goal, it's going to be a 1-1 draw. They're going to come back to come back and score an equalizer. That's not the way it played out, fortunately. Chelsea just does have way more talent than West Ham does. Sorry, Andy, but I thought West Ham was going to go down this year, the way they finished out last year. The way that the talent that they brought in have made them a better team. That's clear. Missing Antonio is obviously a big thing, because they had opportunities that just needed a finish, and they just didn't get there. Chelsea, though, did. And it really kind of only felt like after in the second half, they put in two like they should have. That was an optimistic result at 3-0. So, today's game was great in one sense, but it didn't really give you the sense that Chelsea was one of these dominant teams that was, going to come out and blow the socks off anyone who's under 5 in the table. That said, I still think Chelsea are the second best team in the Premier League. I don't know if it's the schedule, the demands of the schedule, or whatever, but the parity in the league this year, as opposed to other years, seems a lot greater. I think Chelsea still have the talent to wind up second, But they can't go through spells where they lose 2 games in a row to Everton and Wolves. I mean, the loss at Wolves was like tragic. You know, it was you're pushing, and bang, counter, you lose.
I don't think that there's anybody though that I think you've got Liverpool, and then you've got about 5, maybe 6 teams that are capable of finishing second, and then another group of teams. And I would say, Stead, would you agree with that? There's no clear-cut challenger for Liverpool. Liverpool just seems to be above everybody else, and then a whole lot of teams who are good, but who are all flawed in their own way.
Especially considering the challenges that Liverpool have had this year. It's not like they've had a smooth sailing, yet they're still 4 points clear. And you have to admit that, you know, a week ago we were having Los give his view from the top, and now they're sitting at a Europa League qualifying position. So you see, and it changes really quickly, but it doesn't change for Liverpool that much. And they got outplayed by Leicester, and it seems to me like I would definitely have to agree. It seems like there's Liverpool, and like the issue that Chelsea seems to have is they just kind of beat themselves one too many times, as opposed to them really being outplayed, it seems. And you know, say what you want, I don't know a Manchester United fan who is confident that the place that they're in is, number one, is it deserved, and they still seem to be surprised by it. And I mean, deserve may not be the right word, but you know what I mean. To feel like
reflective would be.
Like yeah, that's a much better word. Reflective. Are they really the team that's going to finish third? I don't know a Man U fan that's going to say yes, they are. So, you know, it really is a bunch of teams that are going to be battling for that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 position, and I think it's all the teams that are currently there now. But then you have to include Southampton because they're not going away. You have to, of course, include Manchester City because they're Manchester City, and once they figure out that they're the best scoring team the Premier League's seen in quite a long time, they'll be back into it. And you know, I personally think Wolves are kind of like I think the wind is kind of the recent run that Wolves have had is sort of over. But yeah, I mean that's my very long-winded response of agreeing with you because I haven't had a chance to talk in about 20 minutes. So,
but you didn't even mention Leicester, did you? I mean, they're in there too.
I kind of said like, you know, Leicester outplayed Tottenham. That was my way of saying like I think Leicester's better than Tottenham. So yeah. That was my way of saying it. Yeah.
No. When I look at say the top half of the table, you know, we've talked about some amount of regression out of the likes of West Ham and Villa. You know, you just said Southampton's not going anywhere. I don't know that they're going to remain in 7th. I think that, and you know, when they jumped up to 2nd in the table.
Well, yeah, that was definitely not going to stand. Yeah. I more mean like they're a team that's going to be annoying, and they're a team that nobody's going to really want to play. That's like you don't want to be sitting there going, "Ooh, we got a chance to get in the top 3," and then have Southampton to play. You don't want to be that like because that's not. I just think that's a team you're like, especially if they're coming off of a couple of losses. You just don't want to play them.
But then, when I look at it, you've got Liverpool, Mike, Sean, Stead. You got Liverpool in 1st, Leicester, Man United. Now, Everton, Chelsea, and Spurs, right? And then Tottenham in 6. I would say Leicester, United, Everton, Chelsea, and Spurs all have a legitimate claim to say they could finish 2nd. Mm-hmm. They all also could just as easily finish 6th. Mm-hmm. Because as you just said, you know, Tottenham loses 2 weeks ago within a week. We went from a week where we were talking to Los at the top of the table to now they're sitting in 6th, but they're still only 1 point out of 3rd.
And you forget Man City. Man City have a game in hand.
Man City have a game in hand. United have a game in hand. And then you've got Aston Villa sitting down there.
They got 2 games. They got 2.
They've got 2. Right, so you've got the
and those won 2 of them, and they've won 2 of their last 3. They've gotten 7 out of the last 9 points.
And again, this is a crazy Premier League season.
It's
So-
great, except for Arsenal. But,
Well, I don't necessarily. I have to do it at some point, but I don't want to rub salt in the wound just for the sake of doing it because, I remember what it was like when United opened up the season, in 15th, when they've had their struggles, and it just feels like, how many times can you get kicked when you get down? But for the first time, I actually, when I looked on 538, I don't put a lot of stock in their simulator, their predictions of how the table is going to line up. The reason why I don't put a lot of stock in it right now is because whatever statistical analysis they're using has Manchester City, who are sitting in 8th in the Premier League, as the best team in Europe right now, and the odds-on favorite to win the Premier League. And I'm like, if you've watched the Premier League at all this season, like, it's just not there. But the one thing I did find interesting was, for the first time, they gave Arsenal a better chance, a higher percentage chance of being relegated than they did making the Champions League.
I saw that.
Yeah, so
But don't worry, feel free to kick, because we're rubbing salt on our own ones and kicking each other while we're down too. So
I mean, I can kind of see that it's actually a good transition. I said yesterday, Chelsea's next fixture is against Arsenal, and I don't really want to play Arsenal right now. Arsenal's like I put it, Arsenal's like a scared cat in a corner. You don't know what they're gonna do. Are they gonna come right at you? Are they gonna fritter away? Are they gonna
They're going to get
they're a
eaten
team
by
with
the
no
dog.
identity and no consistency. And are they going to come out in a London derby? I mean, I know they're on a short week where Chelsea has the full week to sort of
we're talking about a day. They play what? Arsenal plays tomorrow. Chelsea played today.
Yeah.
I mean, that day's worth of rest doesn't figure that much in. But I agree with you. Like, you don't know what it is. Like, I wouldn't want to play them either. And simply because I don't know what, at some point they're going to show up. You just don't want it to be against your team.
Yeah, exactly. And we're next. And well, after their cup match, well, we're their next league game. And yeah, I mean, London derby, Chelsea had a convincing win today on paper, if not exactly inspiring. Arsenal's a team that needs something. Hopefully Arteta's in there saying, "Let's win cups, guys. Forget about that."
So,
but you can't really count on that, and I think they're gonna have a big, scary win. And like I said, yes, I hope it's the next guy and not us on Boxing Day.
So, before we change course too much, Mike, give me, as we like to do at the end of the year, reflect back on the year that was. Give me some of your memories of this 2020 year in soccer.
Yeah.
Something that stood out for you, a memory, something good, something bad.
I'm a Chelsea fan. It was all bad. I think our best memory was probably beating Liverpool in the FA Cup. That was the match that I took pride in, that I didn't really have high expectations. I kind of thought Liverpool would really want that double. And beating them was a good, solid win. I think, it doesn't really, it's not really great sport, but the off season they had with the talent they brought in brought a really renewed sense of optimism in the team. Whereas, we qualified for Europe last year. We came in fourth, tied on points with Man United. But the new infusion of talent Havertz, Werner, Ziyech, Chilwell,
Mendy.
putting in a big need, and then Thiago Silva,
Mendy.
later as it
And
started
Mendy.
going, which Thiago Silva was probably actually the best addition, the most needed addition at least, that they had. I mean, you could see it today. Silva sliding to the ball, really, I mean, it's a big thing, and you notice the difference. And then, of course, he comes in his first game and screws up really bad.
How about
How about
Philadelphia?
Mendy though?
How about Mendy first?
But Mendy.
Yeah.
So if you recall when we did this earlier, my prediction that won't come true was Kepa was going to right the ship and be great, and everything was going to be hunky dory. I really wished that had happened. But yes, Mendy. I mean, Mendy's been the biggest difference. He came later after they played, and we're like, no, we can't do it with this guy. We can't do it with Kepa. We need something else.
How about the Philadelphia Union winning their first trophy?
They did win their first trophy, yes, and then promptly lost in the first round.
Hey, but we got a trophy. We got
That's
a
true.
trophy. The
That's
long, that 10-year nightmare, while not reaching Liverpool proportions, is over. The Union have lifted a trophy.
Yeah.
So, Mikey, give me a New Year's resolution for Chelsea, for the Union, for the U.S. men's national team, whoever you care to give it to me for.
Chelsea, my New Year's resolution for Chelsea is forget about the Champions League. Focus on the league. They're playing, they drew Atletico Madrid, who are leading Spain right now. If you look at the fixtures, their fixtures after their two legs of the Champions League are Man United and Liverpool. Forget about the Champions League. Too much of a risk, too much of a gamble. Focus on the league. Come in second. That would be a great result for this team. A disastrous result would be not coming in a Champions League position, which, as we've talked about, is an infinite possibility. To me, it's getting good results against these big teams is how you bubble up in the standings. Focus on the league. Forget about the cups. I mean, we lost in the FA Cup final last year. That would have been nice. And then we lost to Arsenal, which that's, I guess the Arsenal fans who asked this, that's got to be their highlight of probably the next 5 years.
Sean already said specifically August 1st, 2020. That was the first thing when I asked him this question
14 cups.
At the top of the show, he very specifically said beating Chelsea in the FA Cup final was, but, when you're in that position and your season has gone, when your 2020 has gone the way that theirs has, I'll let you talk. It's easy to understand why that would be the most memorable moment of I can't even say. I can't even say as a United fan, like I can't point to a trophy that we won, a final that we played in. We made it to 3 semifinals and lost all 3.
Yeah. Manchester semi-United, man.
Yeah, Ole's made it to 3 semifinals in a year and lost all 3.
I've got to say this too. New Year's resolution number 2 for Chelsea. Keep developing the youth. They have so much young talent. Right now they're struggling to figure out where to put Kai Havertz. I feel like fans are sort of jumping on Werner because he's not scoring 6 goals every game. Werner has the pace and the talent to get into open spaces, and you can see it. And he does it better than lots of other people. Maybe not a Messi level or Ronaldo, but he is an elite player. Havertz is 21. And he needs to figure out his role. Pulisic is young. Keep developing it. If we don't win this year,
And stay healthy.
don't go firing everybody. We have the youthful talent. They're right there. They're sitting in fifth. They're within a win of second, although United's got the game in hand. But it's all right there. Keep on the course. As we say in Philadelphia, trust the process.
Trust the process. And we'll get you out of here with that, Mike. We'll have you on after the new year. Good talking to you. As always, have a happy Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa to you, my friend.
And to you as well.
Mm-hmm. And celebrate Festivus for the rest of us.
Got my poll.
You got your poll? Good. All right, my man. Take care.
So, yeah.
So we're about to bring on. So before we bring on?
Can I ask a question, Mike, quickly?
Yeah.
Does the other Mike manage the Sex Pistols in his spare time?
I do believe he might. I mean, that was a definitely.
Myself, I'm sorry.
That was a definitely, yeah.
Okay.
All right, and we are joined, and it's about to, it's going downhill, and there's nobody better to help us take it downhill faster. G, how you doing?
I guess that's one way to introduce me. I'm doing well, gentlemen. How you guys doing today? How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. It's been a year, man.
That's been a crazy year.
We're kind of reminiscing. I have heretofore kind of asked everybody about their memories and stuff like that, but I've got 3 Arsenal fans. There aren't a lot of good memories.
I've got one good memory. We got a trophy this year. We got a little plate that is worthless in an overall scheme of what's going on right now.
Well,
So
technically, you got 2 because not only did you win the FA Cup, you also won the
Yeah, I can't do a certain gesture. Maybe I might get a knock on the door. So things are being recorded around here. But yeah, whatever. It's all it's all gravy to me.
If trophies or silverware, is the Charity Shield like the ice cream fork of trophies?
Ooh, is it a spork?
Yeah.
Is it a half spoon, half fork? I don't know, man. Was it worth anything really in the big scheme?
It's like the cutlery. It's not, but I'll put this out to all 3. I've asked everybody else. What are your New Year's resolutions for Arsenal? I'll start with you, Sean. What's your New Year's resolution for Arsenal?
Oh, are you starting with me?
Yes.
Oh, I would like to be the guy at the training ground on around the 30th of June. I'd like to be the guy who kicks out Mesut Ozil, one big kick up the backside, kicks out Mustafi, kicks out Kolasinac, kicks out Socrates, hopefully kicks out Xhaka, and there's a few more that I've forgotten that need kicking out as well. So yeah, that's what I'd like. That's where I'd like to be. London Colney, kicking the hell out of them as they walk out and say bye bye. Whether Mr. Arteta will be the man in charge of rebuilding or not is a different question altogether. I personally fear that we might have a new manager in place come the end of January, but I hope that's not the case.
All right, G, give me your New Year's resolution for the Arsenal.
My personal one is just to relax a little bit more, to trust the process. I keep on saying I'm a Cubs fan, so it's been a century. Seems like a process. I can wait for Arsenal, but I don't know what's going on. I just gotta sit back as a fan and hope and pray to God that the ship is turning around right now, and we're on the right path. We got a lot of things in place. As hopefully, maybe Arteta is not the man that we thought he was. Maybe he's a good assistant manager right now, where he's at in his career, being such a young gentleman, a little bit younger than us. So for me, it's just being patient and just trust the process. But, you know, we can only be patient for so long, especially when we're a top 4 team. And here we are, number 15th. So slowly slipping, it seems like. So it's got to trust the process right now. And get rid of some of these scrubs that London Sean said. Just get rid of some of these guys that just don't belong anymore.
Stead, what's your New Year's resolution for the Arsenal?
I want to see the following players on the field. I want to see Tierney continue to play. I want to see Saka continue to play. I want to see Ainsley Maitland-Niles on the field. I'm very glad he didn't get sold because he plays. He's had his time to shine this year. I want to see, of course, Partey on the field. I want to see Emile Smith-Rowe on the field. I want to see Gabriel Martinelli on the field. I want to see Joe Willock on the field. Those are the players that need to be playing more. That's the future of your squad. And the players that you're paying money to are stealing money right now for their performances. So, you know, as quickly as you can, figure out a way to rework your contracts. I don't know. It looks like the Willian deal is proving to be just awful, and at least you didn't have to pay a transfer fee for him. But he's still your highest paid player, tied with Aubameyang on the field. So get these players on the field and see what you have, because the Premier League, as far as I'm concerned, is gone. No, it's gone. So don't get relegated and get these young players on the field, and that's my resolution for the squad.
I mean, the Premier League in terms of what? In terms of like European Champions League qualification, Europa League.
I think Europe. I think any sort of European qualification. I don't think they're going to get it. I don't. I cannot recall a squad that this far in. Like, this team is struggling so much to put the ball in the net that they have more points than they have goals. Like, that is shocking that you have more points than you have goals this season, by 2.
But you get 3 points for a win.
I understand.
It doesn't matter if you win 1-0 or 6-2.
From what I've seen, I don't think there's another team that has more actual points than they have goals scored this year. I don't think there's one. Maybe Newcastle, but like, no, it's they're not scoring goals. You have to score goals, and we can talk about all we want to talk about though, but they've only scored, what is it, 12? They've scored 12 goals this year. Like, that is so surprising that Arsenal, after 14 games, have scored 12 goals. And if you exclude the first game, they've only scored 9 goals. In 13 games, they've only scored 9 goals. And if you exclude the penalties, because I believe they got 3 goals from penalties as well. So they've only scored, 5 or 6 goals from open play in 14 games? Wow. Why are we talking about Europe when you have a team that's only scored 6 goals from open play?
And it's funny how last year we're all talking about defense and letting us down. Now it's completely opposite.
But
it's our offense.
Our defense was keeping Arsenal from winning. It wasn't keeping them they were drawing a whole lot. But now the lack of goals is keeping them from being able to even draw.
Yep.
Where did the goals go?
They're in the middle of the field, which Arsenal can't control.
where No, because, and this is an honest question. I don't believe that Aubameyang has suddenly forgotten how to put the ball in the back of the net. Right.
Apparently he's injured.
Apparently he may be hurt. I don't believe that he's totally forgotten. Stead, you and I talked about this, how, unusual it is to see a player of that caliber, like Alexis Sanchez, somebody who was as good as he was, just completely forget how to play soccer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that he's got the yips. I don't believe so. Is it that he's being played out of position? Is he not getting the service? Have teams figured out, hey, we don't need to worry about anybody else, so we can just key in on Aubameyang, because whatever is on assisting whatever that endless cycle is of Pepe, Willian, Lacazette, just isn't going to get the job done.
Yep.
Is it that, teams have figured out Arteta's system with the three at the back and are able to
Simple.
cut the lines of service? What is the issue as to why they aren't scoring?
My goal stat doesn't seem to be as fascinating as I thought it was. I think it was fascinating for me because they're just so low in the table.
Mhm.
But I think that they're not finishing. They're not finishing chances. They're not finished. I mean, Arteta is right to the extent that they are able to move forward. They are able to press. They are getting opportunities. They're just not finishing. Lacazette's lost the ability to finish around the goal. He's had a lot of chances to put balls in the net, and he hasn't been putting them in the net. So, I mean, it's that final motion of actually getting a foot on the ball and getting it towards the goalie is just not happening. And I don't know. I mean, I think they're overly reliant on playing the ball from the wing.
But like Mike said, if you shut down Aubameyang, you're going to have Lacazette beat us. All right. If he's shanking left and right or not even get on frame, all right. If I'm Man U or if I'm anyone else, I'll let you beat me anytime. I was going to shut down your number one guy. I know Pepe's not going to score. He's kind of irrelevant. Who else is going to score on you? You shut down their main guy, you ain't got nothing left. It's everything. Yeah. I think Mike hit it on the head. It's our services. We're anticipating one guy to carry the entire team. Where in years before we had Sanchez and Giroud and Walcott, we have three players or whoever was up on top to take the team on. Right now, we only have one guy. We don't have many guys. So it's not the same team as we were before. We can't have any one person besides Aubameyang to take the lead. Williams is not there anymore. Central, we have no one. Mm-hmm. I don't see anyone else who take the team. So that's why we're 15th right now. We don't really have anyone. We don't have a team like we did before. We don't have three number one guys. We have a 0.5 guy up there. Just take two defenders on him, put a body. He's going to flop all over the place, and he's gone. So we don't have anyone to back up.
If Laka could put in half the chances that he's had,
but he's not
just in the last few games, though.
I agree.
In the last few games,
until
he's not doing it.
Until he's proven that he can, you just keep on the same thing.
They're just not doing it. They're just not finishing around the goal. But I think when you're playing kind of the same way, and we were talking about this. Yeah, it's copycat. And Sean, you brought this up about how they keep having the service from the same area, and defenders are there who, even if the ball does happen to get to an Arsenal player, they're set up in a way that they know where they're going to they know what they're going to try to do to finish. So the ability to score is going to be that much more hampered when the team knows what you're going to do anyway. That's going to make it that much harder. So I think it's a lack of control of the middle of the field, and they're playing very one-dimensional way that other teams are figuring out. And if you don't have a guy who's 6'4", who can clog up some space in the middle to try to get ahead on the ball or at least command some attention, and you're just hitting the ball with 6'3" center halves, they're going to just keep hitting the ball out. It's just not going to happen.
Sean, I was never a huge fan of the three at the back system. I think that that's a thing that you do when you're Wolves or some of the, and Arteta started with 4-2-3-1, 4-4-3-3, sort of that formation. It didn't work. He wanted the defense was letting him down at the end of last season. All three of you talked about how porous the defense was. And then he went to the three at the back. Is one change, Sean, that he could make going away from the three at the back, going to some actual fullbacks to help generate some additional width? If they're going to play the ball in, having some additional fullbacks might give them additional width.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't disagree with your statement, Mike. I think the problem is the fullbacks, actually, to be fair. I'll take away that from Mr. Tierney. The part of the reason he went three at the back was also to include David Luiz, who obviously can play better as the middle of the three at the back scenario. And Luiz, quite astonishingly, has been one of our most attacking players from that position, with the balls that he fires across to the wingers. So what happened when he went to 3 at the back is he suddenly stumbled across a sort of semi-winning formula, in the sense that he had this let out from Louise to get the ball to the wide players. Bellerin has been very, very disappointing. So I'm not sure he's recovered fully from the injury he had. I mean, the one thing he had was speed. He's definitely lost that now, and he looks like an average player, basically, without that speed that he had.
I think he's too focused on being a fashion designer now.
Yeah, and if we get a big bid in for him from PSG and he can go and do his fashion thing in Paris, then we should take the money, in my view. I would agree with what G said and with what Stella said. We need to sort of start again. So in answer to your question, Mike, about reverting back to 4 at the back, we have one good centre-half in the club in Gabriel, and we're struggling to find someone to play with him in a 4 at the back situation. Holding has done an okay job, but I'm not quite sure that he's, an Arsenal centre-back, personally. That's just my view. He's another one that maybe should be sent on his way at some point. So there's a huge rebuilding job, but both in terms of players, but also in terms of style. I do think that Arteta would much prefer to play 4 at the back. I'm not sure he's got the personnel to do it.
See, I think he does, though. I think with last year with David Luiz, with 3 in the back, you can't have David Luiz and his old ass and his old age, his old legs and his old everything be the third guy. He fits perfect in a 4-back system. Then when Arteta's asking the back wings to fly up and down, they're just going to run them tired. And if they're not going to get the ball, they're going to slowly give up, and they're going to be slowly coming back on defense. And we keep on seeing that over and over again. They're slow to come back, and all of a sudden it's a free-for-all. We saw that with Tottenham. We saw that with any team that recently. Any fast break, we're just so slow to come back. There's so much room to score. I think David Luiz fits good with us with a 4-back, but with a 3-back, there's no way. Gabriel fits perfect in a 3-back. But then with that system, you can't ask for our ringers to keep on going up and down and expect them to be producing game in and game out. We're just going to bury them to the ground, especially with the players that we have right now. So I think the formation is the biggest issue right now. I don't think Arteta has any clue what's going on with the people that he has. Seems like he is a copycat, line up every single week to expecting the different results. He's getting the same results. So I don't know why he doesn't see that. You see all the fans, see everyone in the whole world, us 3 complaining every single time. Why is he doing the exact same thing? And he's getting the same results. So I don't know. I just don't see that the formation's working for him. I'm a big, 4-5-1 kind of guy, but that's just me. But if it's not working,
Hate that formation.
It's so hard. Or a 3-5-2. A 3-5-2 is so damn hard. But a 4-5-1, if our mid is so weak, let's clog up the mid and let's kind of win that area. But we're losing so much. So we gotta fix it to get the ball back to spark our offense. But right now, I don't know, man. I think Arteta's way over his head.
I gotta agree with you though, G. I do think that there needs, and you, Sean, there needs to be a bit of a reset button. I think they need to kind of go, look, let's start over here. Let's rethink what we're doing. Don't look at the table. Don't look at how many points, don't look at any of that. Let's go out and have a little bit of fun and just go play. I don't think they're playing right now. It's almost like they're afraid to, they're so afraid to make a mistake that they become so robotic. And, whenever you see a team of Arsenal stature start to fall down on the table like this, the reports are coming out like crazy. And of course, they're from publications like Daily Mail and the Mirror and stuff like that, Arteta's lost the locker room and there's factions and they all hate each other and stuff like that. And
Carlos.
Yeah, of course. And so, you hear all that and like at least 50% of that is some relative BS. But you can't expect the team though that had expectations like they did, who are playing like they are, to not be somewhat frustrated and to not be somewhat upset. I think I would prefer them to be frustrated and upset than to act like they're all hugging it all out at the end of practice thinking that everything's great. No, get mad. You should be upset with each other. You should be fighting with each other a little bit. Yeah, you should. Let's show some heart. Let's shake this off. Let's hit the reset button and get back out there and play like a team of your quality and a team of your payroll should be playing.
I think that's the big one, is the payroll. So let's it's easy to sit and talk about Arsenal because probably outside of Barca, who has started to turn it around, I would say that's probably one of the most compelling stories in football right now is the fact that a team of Arsenal stature is in the position that they are. I don't think that they're in an all-out relegation fight yet. Like, there are just teams that are so much worse than they are.
Burnley won today. They got a game in hand. They got a game in hand too.
Yes,
Burnley won today, but then you look at, like, Brighton did have a chance to jump Arsenal. Didn't happen for them. You've got Sheffield United, who are currently historically bad, right?
They're Derby level bad right now, man.
They're Derby level bad.
Derby County level bad.
But Mike, we play Brighton and West Bromwich Albion after Chelsea.
That was what I was going to say. That I think is going to be the real test.
Yeah.
For Arsenal, if they can pick up, but if they pick up those points and they look like a competent team doing it, all of a sudden that's 6 more points. The narrative starts to change a lot. You know, the problem with the teams down in that is that they are not able to get points consistently throughout the whole season. You know, Arsenal suddenly picks up 6 points in the span of 2 games. It changes the conversation. I don't think it's like, oh, all of a sudden, you know, you're competing for Europe places, but this whole talk, which is fun to do when any team is down there, talk of relegation and stuff like that. I think that's all overblown, right? That's what I'm saying. So,
it's fun for us to do though, as Arsenal fans, to, like, you know,
it's fun to do. It's fun to
punch at your team a bit, yeah.
It's fun to do until you until you honestly think about what it would be like if they actually did go down. Then
I just remember with this West Brom game coming up in Arsenal's second to last season, when he couldn't buy an away win for love nor money.
I remember that.
Games at home, and we played at West Brom and lost at West Brom. And they interviewed Theo Walcott straight after the game, and Theo came out with those immortal words: "They wanted it more than we did." And that's the problem, is that we're still in that mindset. We've had 2 other managers since then. 3 other managers if you include Freddie's 3-game managerial career with us. And other teams still want it more. And that's a fundamental part of what made Arsenal successful in our successful days, and now a fundamental part of what's killing us, unfortunately.
Agreed.
Other teams want it more.
Patrice Evra,
which goes back to the money. Sorry, which goes back to the salary.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a lot of fat, overpaid cats, so you don't want to put the effort in.
Yeah. Patrice Evra had a very good point about that. I remember a long time ago, he called Arsenal a bunch of babies, and he said it again. And I can't. Can you argue with him? I mean, yeah, as a fan of the team, we can get upset about that, but I really can't fully be like, no, that's not fair. That's the way they've been playing. So, you know, that's just kind of where we are. So I'm going to bring in a couple more guys real quick after you go ahead.
Yeah, if you compare Jordan Henderson to Xhaka, both have, until recently, Xhaka was also captain of our team.
Right.
In the same way that Henderson was. They both central midfielders, and they are a million miles apart. Henderson would not allow to happen if he was at Arsenal. I mean, he leads that. I don't think he's a great footballer personally, but
I don't either.
He's a great leader.
Agreed. And he knows how to maximize his personal talents, which we saw Xhaka able to do that when he first got to Arsenal. He was actually you kind of saw things that he could do really well that he just doesn't do anymore, but he lacks the maturity. It really is what it is. He's just immature. He's got to grow up. And when as long in your career as he is, it's just probably not going to happen. I think he's hit his limit. You're seeing what you're getting. You're getting a very immature player who doesn't know how to control his emotions. And the last red card was like, if he just, I hope he saw a replay and could see that the player who you grabbed around the neck was not involved at all and had tripped.
Mm-hmm.
And you decided that you're going to take it upon yourself to do something that you know is going to get you a red card. And also, I think if he was smart after his previous offenses that he's had in the Premier League, he should know that referees are waiting for you to do something stupid. They're waiting for you to do it because they know you are. So you should be even more on your P's and Q's to make sure you don't make those similar mistakes again. And that's exactly what he did. And that, you know, and I'm going to dismiss Gabriel's red card because I understand why it happened. I mean, he had to. Look at the positions he was in. He's out there playing central defense by himself, and he's isolated. He's trying to just keep the team from losing 5-0. So, you know, we could go on and on and on, and that may be another show that I put together. Is we're going to complain about this team for an hour, and we'll get 1,000 views. But we're going to go ahead and bring in some guys whose teams are currently winning. One we've already spoken about, Liverpool. So we're going to bring in Matt and Will to discuss what they are seeing with their upcoming games and what their year in review is. So let's see. Those two guys coming on. G, feel free to hang out if you like, or you can bounce it up to you. You know, you're one of our guys, so you stay as long as you want.
Let's get
Hey, Matt.
here soon, though.
Sounds good. Hey, Will, how's it going? All right, so
up, guys?
what we're doing here is we're just kind of doing our year in review show. So why don't we just go ahead and start out with you guys sharing what was a highlight of the past year. So we'll go from the top down. Will, why don't you go ahead and go first, even though I'm sure you already know what you're going to say because previous correspondents on the show have already shared similar experiences, but go ahead, Will.
Well, I mean, my
you
year
have
was
so many highlights to pick from.
You know, it was a pretty nice year. I think that if I had to pick out one moment, apart from the obvious, it'd have been on January 5th of 2020, when Curtis Jones took the game in hand and just decided that he was going to beat Everton for us. And Liverpool beat Everton 1-0 in the FA Cup. And that was probably, you know, apart from the obvious, I won't give you the obvious one, but that was a really happy moment for me. And it's I mean, you know, it showed a sort of desire and drive from the Liverpool youth that I think has really shown through in this season, especially the new 2021 season. So the Liverpool youth team coming in and showing what they can do, and Curtis Jones scoring and winning the game. Basically, Jurgen Klopp had put out a team that it could win or it could lose, and he wouldn't really care in the FA Cup. And Curtis Jones just said, "Okay, I'm from Liverpool. I've got to win this game because we're playing Everton." And he won it. He scored a brilliant goal in the 70th minute or so, and that was the highlight for me. Apart from the obvious, I mean, I wasn't going to tell you the very nice thing that happened for Liverpool, you know, around July, but I won't bring that up because Michael and Matt will.
Didn't happen.
Michael and Matt will just be.
There were no fans to witness it. It didn't happen.
Bring that up in the 2021 year in review when I say we get 20 in a row, 20 full titles. So.
Well, we'll talk about that when that happens. But
if that happens.
when and if.
Well, yeah, there's no when.
Yeah.
There's no when there.
I just remember, you know, I had the good fortune of sitting with Will when they claimed the trophy, and I sucked it up because, why not? And I remember you distinctly having said, "Oh, you know, I'm more excited the Champions League." But the look on your face when you saw the Henderson shuffle to get the trophy will definitely go down as one of the highlights of my year. I'm not happy that they won it. I'm happy that I got to be with a friend who was happy when they won it. That's how I'm countering that.
A diplomatic way to put it.
Yeah. But Matt, 6-2.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic. I mean, I don't know if that's the highlight of my year. The highlight for me for United is signing Bruno Fernandes. He's just been unbelievable. I'm just so happy that we have him. He is awesome, and he's like kind of the first player I think we've had in a while that it's like, I don't want to say it's undebatable, but everyone kind of recognizes like, yeah, he's really good. It's like kind of like the way that people talk about De Bruyne, or you have people talk about, Mane the same way. It's just like, yeah, like you just kind of had to shrug. I remember a couple of years ago, same thing was like Aguero, just like being so good, rival fans, just saying like, yeah, what are you going to do? I feel like people say that for the first time about a United player. It's pretty great. That's the highlight of my year so far. And yeah, 6-2. That's awesome.
And we have talked about it. I have said this to each one of the 5 of you who are currently on, that Fernandes is running. His motion when his movement when he does not have the ball is what makes him so dangerous. And I remember watching him in probably his second game, Matt, and just how even when he didn't have the ball, he just never stopped. And we saw it clearly. It led to, as Sean likes to call him, McBlondie's second goal. How on that throw-in, he knew that Leeds was man marking him. He drug his man completely out of the play, and that opened up that lane for McTominay to just shoot into. And it resulted in a goal. I don't know if it's my most memorable moment, Matt, but I got to say that 6-0 Colchester FA Cup game when we had 6 goals, 3 of which were scored by defenders who basically don't even get a game at, 2 of whom can't even get.
Yeah.
Below's not even on the team anymore, and we can't. I've been trying my hardest to give away Phil Jones, and no one will take him. Hey, Sean, you want Phil Jones?
No, but you can have Mustafi if you want.
Oh God, no.
Fair trade.
It must be nice to have fit senior centre backs that you can just give away.
Yeah,
Jones isn't fit.
Yeah, you want him, you can have him.
Jones has been fit for like 4 years now. I mean, you can have him if you want.
And to think at one point in time they were talking about him like he could be the next Duncan Kennedy for United.
Well, I remember Sir Alex Ferguson. But Sir Alex Ferguson basically gassed up all his players like this. He was saying he was the next best thing in football, wasn't he?
Well,
he signed him at 18.
Yeah, at 18 when he was playing with Blackburn in that center line in the middle of the park with Gary Cahill in him. He did look a quality player, and he had some games for United when he looked like he could develop. He just is another one of those ones in a long line, and we've all seen him where, never just through injury, through lack of training.
He went through the Man United rigmarole, the Man United machine of absolutely destroying a decent player. Because
I just think that,
like, Man United and a lot of good teams have a way of taking a decent player, a player that would be a starting player on any, respectable first top division team, and they have a way of destroying them because they don't perform at the Man United level.
But I think that's not just a Man United thing.
I mean, it's not just a Man
Yeah, I
United.
think it's a Barca
thing.
thing. I think it's a
Liverpool's
Real
done that
Madrid
as well.
thing. When you get to the size of club that we are, you'll kind of start understanding that. So you'll get there.
I mean, when you get to the same number of trophies as we do,
We do.
I
Now
know
it's
it's a long way to
getting
look up. You got a crick in your neck. And,
Fired. Shots fired.
your season highlight was signing
All
Bruno.
right, so
Your season highlight was signing Bruno Fernandes, Matt. I mean, come on.
all right, so
I mean,
He's not even
it
as
completely
good as
changed
Jordan
everything.
he did though. He
He's
did.
much better than Jordan Henderson, who's the most overrated player. Period. But
Sorry, second in BBC Sports Personality of the Year.
No,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Most ridiculous.
Keyword
thing
is
ever.
I'm never watching
The
that
key word
program
is,
again.
guys, the key word is personality. Come on.
Yeah.
That's so
I can-
much. So much personality.
I can think of a bunch of British sports personalities.
Hey, look. I think that we can all agree that had Marcus Rashford been eligible because Manchester United had won a trophy. Sorry, that's not on Marcus Rashford. It's just Manchester United was too crap to get him eligible for that award. Had Marcus Rashford been eligible for that award, he would have won it.
Yeah,
And I think we could also all
well-
agree that Lewis Hamilton deserved to win it.
Yeah, he's the man.
I'm just waiting. I hope that in 10 days, I read in the news that Lewis Hamilton's been knighted because
Well, he better be.
he
Yeah,
deserves it. He deserves it.
yeah, he's so good, so good.
Just everything that he's done on the track this year, plus the social activism. Full credit to him. Marcus Rashford.
Why would we knight someone who doesn't spend a penny in income tax in our country? I don't get it.
That's BS.
Because, there's precedent for it.
There's precedent for it, and he pays a lot. He pays taxes in like 7
Because he drives really fast and we like him. God,
Yeah.
Lewis goes vroom.
Yeah, Lewis goes vroom.
Kidding me? Anytime someone can say they dated someone in a band called the Pussycat Dolls, they deserve to be knighted.
And broke up with him because he liked his cars more.
Yeah, and came out better. Came out better on the other end. Good for him.
Yeah, like he broke up with Nicole because he liked to drive too much. But yes, according to Lewis Hamilton, if you step on the gas and go vroom, you drive faster.
Like it.
So
I mean, I'll stop insulting Manchester United, and I'll stop insulting Bruno Fernandes. I mean, I do think he's a quality player, but I think Matt calling him in the same breath as De Bruyne and Mane is singing his praises a bit too loudly. I think Coach Yu agrees with me right there.
Yeah, I'm a De Bruyne guy through and through, and have been for years. And Bruno's not even close to that level yet, so I agree with that.
I mean,
He's
yeah,
got potential. He's got potential, but not right now. Not at this stage of his career.
I just think that, like, again, like I'm talking about, like, even just in terms, like, obviously he has to prove it. We have to win trophies with him, and he has to do that. I just think that, like, he's the first player that we've had in a long time where people aren't, like, there was a lot of like kind of pushback. I've noticed from like a lot of Ralph fans, like he's like overrated. They talked about like the penalty stats, like everything like that. But I actually think like this season, because he's come out and he actually still has like put up the numbers. Like I know he still has he has his penalty numbers, but on top of that, he's still like goal involvements, like regardless, his assist numbers, he has more assists than anyone else in the league right now.
Is he as good as Cantona, Matt?
Of who?
Is he as good as Cantona?
Nobody's as good as Cantona.
No one's good. No one. He's got to win the trophies. Like that's what it comes down to. You have to win the trophies.
He's not.
But no one else.
He's not as good.
Basically,
as
Bruno's had the impact that we all hoped like Pogba was going to have. That's really what it's come down to. I think that's why United fans are excited. Everything, all the the hype around Pogba when we signed and all the hope that we had around Pogba. He's coming back. He's going to put us back on the map. We're going to start playing better. Everything that and how Bruno is playing, I think it's exactly what we just hoped we'd see, like what we'd see Pogba playing and like doing. And kind of, and honestly, if I could even give props to like rival fans. Like a lot of people kind of joke that it was like every year we kept saying, oh, this guy that we signed is going to release Pogba. Like, we're going to be able to release him and allow him to run all over the field and do essentially what Bruno's doing now. And it kind of just proved that, like, Pogba really, I just don't think was ever up or able to, to do the task that we were asking him to do.
Are you saying
kind
that
of
you wasted £100 million on Paul Pogba?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think
The
that
first two Manchester United fans that I've ever come across that have said they've wasted £100 million on Paul Pogba.
Go back and ask them now. Like, I bet you they'll say yeah now. And honestly, it took Bruno for us to realize that too. Like it's one of those, until someone was going to come along and actually prove to us that you can pull the strings with this team, and or no matter who the manager was, we were going to be like, it's not, we were going to defend our player, but Bruno's proved us fans wrong. Yeah, it can be done. It needed someone who was actually a bit better. I actually do think that Bruno Fernandes is better than Paul Pogba.
right now, I would have to say he's more dynamic.
I don't think there's very much of an argument coming from anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the West Ham game alone demonstrated.
Yeah.
Just that, and it is a shame that we are so heavily reliant on Fernandes playing well every day. But it's that signing that you get where you're like, okay, finally we have a world-class talent in the team, and we can build a team and a pattern of play around him. He makes the players around him better by being on the pitch with them, and you build a team around. It is what we thought Pogba would be, and he's just been far too inconsistent. And Bruno comes in and he does his job. He plays the game. He focuses on the team, and he's only 26 years old. I still think that there's room. He's 3 years younger than De Bruyne. Could he reach that level? Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, but we had Ozil too. He was our godsend that came in the middle. We had a couple of good years with him. Often went to crap. So you kind of never know. The first couple of years you might get a stud, and after that you might get shit in a bottle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've got Jordan Henderson, and so far he's done.
And he started out as
Bruno or Ozil has done for Man United or Arsenal. So I'm just gonna say it: Jordan Henderson, better midfielder than any of them.
All you gotta say this too.
Jordan Henderson, absolute screamer outside of the box. What did Bruno do on Sunday? He scored a penalty again.
He scored a penalty and set up.
Yeah, he set up the first goal.
He set up the first goal.
Yeah, but how many? Okay.
Didn't he have a?
Look, I won't compare Jordan.
And he had another goal.
I won't compare Jordan Henderson. He had the first.
I won't.
The third goal was his.
And compare Jordan Henderson to Bruno Fernandes or Ozil, but I will say
they're completely different.
They play completely different roles. But I will say, in a midfield that I was setting up, I would want the first name that I would put down will be a player like Jordan Henderson. Someone who will run and someone who will go into a centre-back position if a centre-back's out of position, who will come into the midfield and be anywhere that you need him to be at any point in the game. In the 89th minute, you could be up on a corner and Jordan Henderson will be back and he will be defending when they're breaking on the counter-attack. That's why
I would sign N'Golo Kante. Like, Kante does all of that, and
Kante's not as good as Jordan Henderson anymore. I mean,
I don't know about that. I would sign Kante in a minute.
Look, you'd sign Kante in a second, but let me tell. Okay, Jordan Henderson is in your team, Matt.
Oh God, no.
Okay, imagine he's never played for Liverpool. He's playing like he is right now. Would you put him in your team?
Ferguson called him leggy.
Yeah, but Ferguson also called we'll stop this argument now because I think it's
Let's just
counterproductive.
stop.
Yeah,
But
it's
I
not-
think
it's
that Jordan Henderson gets a lot more discredit than he's due because he doesn't contribute goals or assists. But he contributes a different aspect to the team. And I
He's a
think that aspect of the team.
Will,
defensive
hold
midfield.
on. Will, though, you will appreciate. Earlier in the show, before you came on, we were discussing some of the woes that are happening with Arsenal, and we were very clear that Arsenal needs a player like a Jordan Henderson right now. So know that this has not been the beat up on Jordan Henderson's show. While we all cited that he may lack some, fundamental maybe footballing skills that would make him a better player, he's also one that's willing. That's number one. He's willing to do the dirty work. Number one, willing to do the dirty work. Number two, he's willing to get in his players' faces who aren't performing to their level. And number three, I feel like he's able to get the most out of his level of talent, which is what you can't say. Which is, you can't say that for a whole lot of players, especially the current players on Arsenal's squad. So while you all can have this fun argument, I'm sitting here right now going, Arsenal, if for Arsenal right now, if you told Arsenal they could have N'Golo Kante or Jordan Henderson, I'm taking Jordan Henderson. We don't need N'Golo Kante. We don't need a player to prevent goals. Arsenal's defense is still relatively good. We need somebody to get this team fired up to play better. So there are qualities that Jordan Henderson brings that Manchester United may not need right now, but there are teams that desperately need that right now.
Yeah.
So I will. I do have to throw some.
There is a value.
There was an instance on the Sunday game where Liverpool was playing Fulham, and they were talking about how Jordan Henderson almost signed for Fulham. And I honestly think that if Jordan Henderson had signed for Fulham back in 2012, 2013, Liverpool would not have won the Champions League and not have won the Premier League.
I don't disagree with you, and I think that he is.
So that's why I'm saying that Jordan Henderson is the best midfielder in the Prem right now.
It depends on what you're looking for.
I mean,
from
look. He might not be
That's
the
what I
technically the best, as Stead was saying. He might not be the technically best, but he brings something to a team that no other midfielder is currently bringing to a team, and that's why he's the best
a great.
midfielder.
He's a great leader.
I just think that he fits into that team like really well, and he's also just been there so long. Like, and like I'll admit this. Like, yeah, he's a great leader. Like, he's a huge presence on the field, like a locker room leader. I wouldn't say though, like skill wise, and maybe this is just like United fans. Like, we've gotten behind so many of our midfielders that have shown so much heart. Like Ander Herrera is like a perfect example of that. It's like we just had overabundanceness of that for us. So it's like, okay, cool, we see that, but we know that how limited that gets you. Like the fact that you have Mo Salah and Mane, and then also behind Jordan Henderson, you had Virgil van Dijk. It just helps him out so much more, so that his technical I don't want to call them shortcomings, but where he falls below other midfielders in terms of skill, he can push up with his leadership, which it allows him to do that.
But that's
he
what
just
he's
fits into your team really well.
What's frustrating to me though so much about that situation though is we brought up Mesut Ozil a couple of times. We have seen Mesut Ozil play that way. Mesut Ozil played in 2 cup finals that way for Arsenal, and Arsenal won both those finals. Mesut Ozil also played that way for Germany when they won their World Cup. For some reason, he decided not to do that anymore, and we see what happens to his career when he stopped doing those things. So that's the frustrating piece, is that you have a player who has shown that they have the skill, and when push comes to shove, can do that dirty work. And it's not even that we're asking that Ozil was asked to do that all the time, but it was when the team was down and they needed something like that. He was unwilling to make that sacrifice for the team. And that is what has been so sorely lacking on Arsenal's end, which is why we are envious of a player like Jordan Henderson right now.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we've talked about Jordan.
Yeah, we've talked about him longer than his career.
Well, not so much.
No, he's been around for way longer.
I'll give you that, and so we can move on from.
We're
Jordan.
never going to talk about Jordan Henderson again either. So
better.
Hip it out.
Second favorite player on the.
And also, this show has no time limit. We can talk as long as we want.
Oh, wonderful!
Great.
So then I can continue talking about Jordan Henderson.
No, we're not gonna. You for every minute that you spend now talking about Jordan Henderson, Sean and I are going to talk about cricket.
Well,
Oh god. Quiet. There's games last days.
Yes, Sean and I will then. Sean and I will,
Mike, I'll tell you a funny anecdote after the show about cricket.
yeah, Sean and I will go through a blow by blow
Yeah.
analysis.
I made you the co-host, Mike. You can close this out when you're ready.
And Sean and I will go through a blow by blow analysis of how India collapsed. What?
All right, Mike, I'll stop talking about Jordan, okay?
Yeah, okay. My threat finally worked. So I forgot where I was even going to go with that, but
I think there's one thing that we have to unfortunately bear for 2021. So obviously that's half of the current season and the next half of the next season. I can't see fans going back into the grounds. Full stop.
El Hadji talked about that and how at the top of the show, how, we've kind of gotten used to now. I know it's a different boat for you, Sean, being over there and actually having the ability to possibly, when Arsenal's playing or when any of your teams are playing, go to the games. But for us over here, we're stuck watching it on TV, and we've kind of gotten used to the adjusted. I don't know. I'm getting some shady looks. I think it's hard, especially right now, though, because we've entered another phase of lockdown, which means that we can't go out to our local pub and watch a game like we would like to, which is, I really thought about it on Sunday, and then realized it was too doggone cold to go try and sit outside. And that's another reason why we will never have
Baby's talking about cold.
Dude, it was 37 up here at 11:30 on Saturday. It was way too cold to try and go out and sit at a bar
It's
and watch
75 down here, man. It was beautiful down here. I ain't gonna lie, man.
Gee, you're wearing like a ski cap.
My door is open right now, man. I got like a nice cool wind coming through here. It's fucking lovely.
Yeah, it's all 75, and he's got a ski cap on. But I agree with you.
Shorts,
I think
whatnot,
yeah, we're gonna go through this whole season without fans. And
But there again, you see,
it
seems a little bit unfair. So, for example, I think I mentioned this, that my friend lives next to
Fulham friend, yeah.
Well, when Fulham played Liverpool, the fact that 2,000 fans were there probably helped them get a point.
Yeah.
Because the noise was enormous, apparently, from
just
from 2,000 fans. So I can't quite see how this is all equal and fair, that some games we've got crowds in, other games we haven't got crowds in. Yeah, I just hope we don't.
I think we have to look at it like it's not going to be equal and fair. It's going to be a matter of sheer economics, and 2,000 fans is 2,000 more tickets that you can sell to a game. And that's, if you say, let's just say tickets are £100 each. That's fair. And whatever, £100 each, that's far more than they're going to be. Let's say they're £50 each. That's 10,000. That's £10,000 for the team. And you can send out that I don't know, split it 50-50 between the two teams. That's £5,000 each. That's £5,000 more than they would get beforehand. So they're going to say yes. It's money, so they'll say yes. I don't think it's fair. I think that Liverpool definitely is buoyed by the 2,000 fans that they're allowed to have in the stadium. I don't think that's fair to the opposition, because Liverpool is a team that's buoyed by its fans. It's a team that, or Anfield is already a fortress, and there's no way that those players are ever going to say, okay, we can capitulate and we can let this team, win 1-0 or win 2-0. They're going to say, okay, we've got 2,000 fans in this stadium. We got, I don't know, 1 million fans in the city. We're not going to lose.
We've talked about how results at the beginning of the season were a little bit wonky because of the lack of fans, right? United would not have lost 6-1 to Spurs if there were fans in the Stretford end. They just wouldn't have allowed it, right? Maybe the 2,000 fans Liverpool had that 7-2 debacle.
It was
That
away
would,
to Villa.
yeah, but
And
even
look,
with
I mean, Mike,
even
I'm going
without
to raise my hands and say that game was just against Liverpool. I don't know that fans
the
would have
amount of
done anything.
deflections.
Every single shot that Villa took went in. We had Adrian in goal. You know, we were just shockingly bad in that game. I think Liverpool
Great game.
deserved to lose that game by a lot. I think that we all said on this show the deflections killed Liverpool, but I do agree with you. I think the fans would have changed that game.
I think even their away support would have changed that. I don't think that Arsenal would be struggling as much as they are if they had the fans at the Emirates, right? We have talked about the advantage that managers like Klopp and Mourinho, who are very active in the technical area, are having. And we're actually, Matt, starting to see Ole and his coaching staff get down on the pitch more. And I don't think it's just coincidence that since they've been coaching from the sidelines more, United's form has turned around. None of these stadiums that are empty have the same sort of feeling of intimidation. When we came back from the lockout, again, I'm going to go back to 538, they refigured their formula, and they said we were decreasing the value of home field advantage by about 20% because of the lack of fans.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to deal with that. I think the lack of fans is going to have an impact on the game in 2021, just like VAR is. And as much as we whine about VAR, do we accept that we have to get used to it?
It's extremely frustrating. Like I think I said this on earlier in the year. When we came back from the initial COVID break, I was just so happy to get it back, like watching football on television. But the beginning of this year, I've been lamenting. It sucks. Like, I can't stand not hearing fans anymore. And like, I've actually gotten beyond the point where it's like I'm happy to have like football back. Like, even just the 2,000 fans. Like, I watched the end of that Fulham game, and you could hear those fans just like you could just see it, like, pick them up. I don't know who it was, like Kamara. I don't know. Like, just chase down this ball like 94th minute, and you could just hear the fans just like yelling at him just to chase. And he had no chance of getting to it. Like, no way. But he put everything into it just because he could hear people cheering him on. Like, it just makes such a difference. And like, it just really sucks. It really just deflates it. And I think that's part of our away form and part of before our Leeds game, part of our home form too. It's like the amount of hate that United get, like fans of teams, when we're away, they're just going to be all over us and like really pushing their team to like beat United because it's United. And then the same way, like at home too, it's like if we're, playing like crap the first half or like the beginning of the first half, you think our fans would have let that happen? Like, no way. Like, it just really sucks.
It's also quite satisfying though to be that road team to go in and win that game.
Yeah,
with fans. I mean, it's great.
I mean, I can only imagine Liverpool beating Crystal Palace 7-0 with fans.
Oh,
that would have been.
Yeah.
I mean, at a certain point, as a football fan, if you're in a stadium, you have to make the conscious choice to either be like, okay, I'm watching an incredible thing happening, or you have to say, I can't watch this and you have to leave. So if Liverpool or, say, Manchester United, actually say Spurs, because Manchester United were playing at home against Leeds. Say Spurs were doing that to Manchester United 6-1. You have to either say, okay, I can't watch this, or you have to say, good on you, Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Liverpool versus Crystal Palace, the Crystal Palace fans, they're probably going to say, okay, I can't watch this and leave. Most of the stadium will be empty. But the fans that will be left, I'm sure that a few of them would say, okay, good job, Liverpool. You put on a masterclass today. And Matt, I agree with you. I swear that Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold run about 5 miles an hour faster when there are fans in the stadium than when there aren't people there.
They've done the stats on it too. Like players are like running, like they're sprinting less, like less hard, like without fans. Like the overall pace of the games have gone down without fans. Like I think 538 or someone did stats on it. Yeah.
I mean,
you can just tell it. Go ahead.
I know it's a different sport, but last year I had the opportunity to go to a hockey game. The Philadelphia Flyers beat the Caps, like 7-2 or something like that. And you could tell, like, just being part of it, and that was it. You know, the fans, they were cheering, even the away fans. And at one point, all the home team, all the Caps fans left. Why am I going to sit around and watch this? But you could see that they responded, they heard. Going back to what you were saying, Matt, when United was at West Ham, and they not West Ham, maybe it was. Yeah, it was. Paul Pogba had a couple of bad passes, and the commentators were talking about, like, you can't hide when there's only 22,000 fans in the stadium. They're going to let you know, and it's quiet, so you can hear every single word that's being said at you.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think it's one of those things that we're going to lament. I think that 2021, when we go back and we sit a year from now and look back at 2021, we'll reflect on that and the effect that it had on the league, the lack of fans, because I think we can all agree. I, like all of you, was excited. We were on the show. We were still doing the show during COVID, making up stuff to talk about for those weeks where we actually had no soccer, talking about ugly jerseys and Mount Rushmores of teams and things like that, just to try and fill the space. Then we got the Bundesliga, and we were all so happy to see it back. And, you know, Operation Restart, which for a long time we didn't think was actually ever going to restart, actually restarted. We got an end to the season. For all of us here, in its own way, there was a certain amount of satisfaction. And we were happy to be able to see our teams play. It was happening so fast, like there were games every couple of days, that you didn't have time to and it was up, it was down, it was sideways. Will they, won't they? And then the new season starts. And when the new season starts, it's kind of like, okay, now I have a set of expectations for what I'm looking for. And yeah, I think we're going to reflect. This season has been all over the place. So
even Messi today, I think he came out and said the game was absolutely horrible without the fans. Like even La Liga is still feeling it. Like everyone around the world, like the fans are the bloodline. It's like you said, that we move faster, we run faster, we everything that we do as players, we believe because the fans believe. You know, they believe in us, they chant us even more. We had it more of a feel. So I agree. Soccer is not the same without the fans, without a full stadium. Yeah, we might hear these 2,000, but it's not the same to hear that full stadium that turn down the volume on the TV, or like me, turn it up, because I love that atmosphere. I love that blood. I love that feel of the chanting, the singing. That's what soccer is to me. Like that old school chant, the old school, all the entire village goes to, the town goes to the game, and they're all chanting without the hooliganism.
Yeah. But plus the nature of the game too renders itself to be. It's possible that it can get very stale and very stagnant at times, where you have a lull in action. I'm thinking of
the past Arsenal game, I'm not gonna lie, I actually fell asleep. I was holding my daughter, and she was asleep on my chest, and I lo and behold, I knew they were gonna lose anyway, so I just happened to doze off. But
what do we say about what they look like? They were like cutouts. There was no energy with those.
Right.
2000.
So when you have a game where that's possible, because like I think that the fan argument I think is stronger with soccer than any other sport.
Yeah.
Because of the nature of the game. Like with gridiron football, you have stoppages and starts of play. So you have moments of action, and actually they only play about 11 to 12 minutes of the 60 minutes of the game. So you have these bursts of energy. And even NBA basketball, you still have stop and start of play.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a continuous flowing game. So the need for the chanting and the atmosphere that's created by the fans, where they're doing things in the stadium to keep the energy up, is I can easily see how players are going to feed off of that, because you can see where it can get to a point where a team's up 1-0 and they're just sitting back parking the bus, and the other team is just sort of passing the ball around the perimeter waiting for an opening, and 10 minutes can easily go by, and then fans like me can easily fall asleep. So I think the necessity to have fans at soccer is greater than probably any other sport we can think of right now.
How many times do we say the Cop sucks? That Liverpool playing into the Cop in the second half will score. Man United playing into the Stretford end in the second half will score. The Stretford end has a nasty way of sucking the ball into the net. I honestly don't know what that would be at the Emirates, because
the Emirates has not got that yet. Highbury had it, but the
Highbury
had it.
Highbury had it.
Highbury had it, but
Emirates doesn't
so
have it.
man, oh geez, it's getting late.
Yeah.
So as we shuffle off for the year, gentlemen, you have an opportunity to give some Chris Mahana Kwanzaa gifts out to your team, the sport of football. So it's gift giving time. Let's see what
Mike. Hey, Mike. Can I pause you just for a second? One of our guys here has an announcement, and I think this would be a great platform for him to give his announcement. So Matt, take over.
Yeah, well, it kind of plays into it. Like gifts I want for next year. I'm gonna be a dad for the first time, June. So hopefully we got a new little United fan. I'll send you guys all pics in the chat, but I'm super excited. I texted Stead over the weekend. So in June 2021, hopefully a new United fan coming, and I'll probably be falling asleep, next season's game.
Matt, how good are you at predicting when your child will be born?
Oh, it's done by me. It's all done by science. So I don't have anything to say.
The doctor said.
The doctor said it. I'm not saying this is relayed from the doctor.
So Matt's gift to Man United is a new fan.
Yeah.
So Will, you can give a gift to anybody, anybody's. Go for it.
Well, I don't really think I can beat Matt's gift. So I'll be content to come second with this. My gift to Arsenal is Arsene Wenger coming back as the interim manager after you sack Mikel Arteta, and he's taken you into 4th place, right above Tottenham, which is in 5th place. That's my gift to you, Arsenal.
Ooh.
I'll take it.
I'll
take it. 8 days of the week.
All right, Coach G.
Oh man, you threw me off here. The gift, I don't know, man. I'm gonna pass this. I'm gonna pass this to John. I gotta think about this. Oh boy.
All right.
I have no idea.
He passed to Stead. So Stead, give out your Chris Mahana Kwanzaa gifts.
My gifts are actually to all of us who, while we load the international breaks, I am actually looking forward to the Euro this summer. I think it's going to be a fun tournament. I like the way they're doing it. I like the multiple sites of playing games, and it seems to be. I think that that's going to happen much more frequently as we move forward, especially with the 2026 World Cup. And I don't want to talk about 2022 World Cup because who knows what that could easily be an absolute disaster. So, but yeah, I think that the 2021, I think you'll see the return of the fans by then. And I think that Euro is going to be something that's going to be quite exciting.
Sean,
England will come fourth.
Sean, give out your.
Oh, jeez.
Sean, give out.
I think Stead stole my thunder somewhat because I was going to say I'm looking forward to England winning the Euros this summer. I think we're going to be going in there as third or fourth favourites. I think just with a little bit of luck, we might scrape through to a semi-final, and then once we're in the semi, let's see where we get to. I just hope that we can avoid relegation from an Arsenal perspective, and that we keep our bottle and hold on to Arteta, who I think will show himself to be, I hope, a different manager once he's got his own team in place. But we shall have to wait and see. I think he very nearly went. Had he lost at home to Southampton, I think he would be gone by now. But we'll see. We'll see. Just looking forward, as we've all been saying, to fans being able to go back, because I think that's going to make a huge, huge difference. Generally.
All right, G.
All right, I was just thinking, I think Koscielny right now in the France league right now, Ligue 1, I think he's gonna have a resilience to come right back and kind of set the defense. Him and Matasaka get the old 6'10" German center back. I think these guys can get pissed off and come right back. Only fingers crossed kind of thing. We'll see what happens, but hopefully the Arsenal will turn around. And my thing is keep the faith. As long as we get top 10, God, I'll be happy with that. So hopefully the soccer gods above will smile on Arsenal's beautiful ass moving forward, and let's see what happens.
All right, I would like to give to Sean and G and Stead and the rest of the Arsenal fans a 8th place finish and a trip to the brand new Europa Conference League, so that you can have ridiculous travel. To Chelsea Mike, I would like to give you the gift of a new lower body for Christian Pulisic, because that actually fits in with my need to give some hope to the U.S. men's national team. Coach Matt, may the child have 10 fingers and 10 toes, right? And a Man United onesie. Because
already has it.
Yeah,
already has
definitely.
it.
We'll work on that. For Man United, I'm giving a muzzle to Mino Raiola so that he can shut his mouth and never be heard from again. El Hadji, I would like to give you the gift of a Senegalese African Cup championship because they have earned it. Andy the Hammer, I would like to give you a comfortable mid-table finish. Leo, I hope that you can enjoy some sort of consistency to Real Madrid, but I don't want you winning trophies because I'm doggone sick of Real Madrid winning everything. Celtic,
unfortunately, you're not going to be able to stop the 10 in a row. They're not going to get to their 10 in a row, unfortunately.
Well, I was going to say, Celtic may not get the 10 in a row. They may not get the quintuple treble. But Cam is a Scotland fan. May he enjoy a nice trip to the Euros.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And have fun. And may the Tartan Army...
Baku, Azerbaijan, too.
Yeah, may they show up in their kilts, and may the Tartan Army be this Euros equivalent of the Irish back in the Euros in 2012, because they were fun.
Dernier Champs-Élysées.
And to myself, I would like to give another year of doing this podcast with the all gentlemen. I know we stink, but I appreciate your efforts. Man, it has been a real one, gentlemen. This year has been fun. We've gone from being the two guys to the too many guys. And yeah.
Oh, don't forget last man standing. Will, did you say you were going to take charge of that? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the spreadsheet made
Okay,
already.
Excellent, excellent.
All right. So for El Hadji, Leo the Italian, Celtic Cam, Andy the Hammer, Los, Chelsea Mike, Coach G, Coach Matt, Will, London Sean, and my partner in crime, Stead. I'm Mike. This has been the Two Guys Soccer Show. We did good this week. We'll try and do better next year. Peace.